charm and
That's enough.
charm and persona that's already permeating inside this room. So quickly let you know what he's from and where he's from. So he's Arvindh Sundar, founder of Domination Labs. So he's the founder of Domination Labs. He conducts workshops and mentorships. Arvindh has been rated as one of the India's top 100 customer experience hackers. Note this word, my friends, customer experience hackers by Oracle. And Paul Reiter has leveraged his experience to help Fortune 500 and companies and have built some amazing brands like IBM, Novel, Jigsaw Academy, Restolex, Fresh Menu, Netgear, Medico, Chiron Global, as well as many individual and startups build comprehensive, cohesive ecosystems. Not just this, I would also want you all to quickly take a look at this LinkedIn profile. It's a very, very different way of presenting yourself in LinkedIn. So currently he's serving as the visionary communicator in Toastmasters Online. If at all we want to build one core skill for the rest of our life, that would be the art of storytelling and presentation. And he's clearly the guy to look out for. Thank you.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
All right, please put your hands together. That is the perfect example of reputation management. I didn't mean to drop the. I'll do that at the end. Thank you. So, first of all, thank you. I'm very, very grateful to have this opportunity to speak to each and every one of you. I know we're a little bit delayed. One thing that I do want us all to do, stick your, what is this hand? Right hands out, please. And then one finger, start tapping. And then we're going to go to 2, 3, 4, 5. That's how I like to begin, with an applause. But this is, oh, thank you. That's some bonus. So what happens is, that's actually a very good lesson in marketing, right? When you're going to be starting, especially when I saw the session that was happening just before mine, I noticed that each one of you was coming up with a go-to-market plan. And this thing, what I just made you do, is a very good example of how you would actually enter a market. You'd want to start small. And once you have something running, then you're going to double up and then add some more until you get applause from your customers. Now, one very, very critical component of that is actually how do you get people to listen to what you have to say? All right. 3 pictures behind me and about what? 30, 40 people different in this room. Can I have a very broad shout out? Just shout out, what do you guys do? What are you in marketing? Are you studying? What is it that you guys do? Please. I know Praveen, so thank you. And he has a very good definition of branding. We're going to get into that. And so does that lady over there. Go on.
Working in BMA.
Okay, working in BMA, software, fair enough. What about you?
I'm a quality lead.
Okay.
I work with a design agency called Bond.
Okay, Bon, yeah. What about you?
I work with Arvindh as a project manager.
Project manager?
Working as a product manager in one city.
Okay. Does anybody have a different designation than project manager and software? Yes. User UX designer. Awesome, awesome, good stuff. Yes. Pardon me? You need the mic. I'm sorry, what? Product owner. Awesome, awesome. Anybody else? Anything different? Perfect. Now, the reason why I'm saying this is, whatever designation you guys have, it doesn't matter. Just doesn't. Because whether you are a product owner, whether you are a project manager, whether you are in software, it does not matter. Because either way you look at it, you're always selling. Marketing is not just about like, here, take my money and give me more ads or something. You'll have internal customers, project managers will know, or external customers. You probably have to convince tech teams and marketing to say, please do this. But at that time, how do you actually do something so that these guys come up and listen? That's what I'm hoping to cover in the next 60 minutes or so. At any time, please feel free to stick up your hand and ask questions. If I don't know the answer, I'm going to say something very, very Gyanish and probably go home and Google. But I will try to get you answers. All right? So let's roll. 3 pictures that you see. First thing is an airplane seat. Second is a toy from Star Wars. And third is a fancy menu from a 5-star restaurant. Very interesting story here. When you look at aircrafts, everybody has a very, very fixed definition of aircraft, right? For me personally, it's an absolute nightmare. I'm 6'3" and 130 kgs. I have a circumference that almost rivals Yokozuna the wrestler. Thank you. Somebody watches WWE. very difficult for me to actually fit in, right? So I'm like sitting and then my knees are hitting against the chair, and usually I end up picking a fight with the guy in front of me. Why? Because he wants to lean back and I'm not letting him. Similar problems when you go talk to Star Wars fans. They have very, very strong ideas about who Boba Fett is, who Han Solo is. For me, I'm an outsider. I have no clue. I don't care. They do. And fancy menu? This I actually remember. For my 7th anniversary with my wife, we went to a very, very fancy restaurant. And we were not that rich, right? We were poor. So we've been saving up for a long time just so that we could go there. So we walk in and then this waiter, he takes us to this very, very... He seats us there somewhere and then he gives us a menu. And it's one of these fancy places, right? So they don't have anything like... I don't know, what do you call that? Like actual dish names. They don't have something saying like Paneer 65. I mean, that's what I have like Darshini's outside. But then here, suddenly he's like sauteed paneer and this thing. I'm like, okay, yeah, fine. This is what fancy restaurants must be like. So my wife and I, we're going through this menu. And what happens is suddenly we find this dish, which is like really, really deliciously written. No? It says baked semolina, crushed and boiled, mixed with diced carrots and julienne vegetables. Some people get this. I did it. I'm like, I would like this. And then he's like, yes, sir, wonderful choice, sir. And then he goes. You know, we're sitting near that restaurant door, like, Anna, erad upma. I'm sitting there in the restaurant for a plate. Okay? Again, very, very important point, because what happens is, in many cases, the messages that are coming out from you might not be interpreted the way you want by somebody else. In the first case, for me, aircrafts represent an absolute nightmare. That's the message that I'm getting. But somebody like him might be like, hey, yeah, it's cool, you know, I can travel to Chennai for a haircut. He could do that. The next, I'm not saying you need a haircut, probably a shave, but the next one, again, Star Wars, Star Trek, it doesn't really matter to me. So anything that somebody's telling me about that, it just flies over my head. Doesn't really matter. And the last one, I felt cheated because that fancy restaurant, they could have just said upma, but they didn't. They didn't say it in a way that actually matters. And many, many businesses, they do this. And then, especially when it comes into marketing, becomes a vicious circle, which kind of leads into a lot of pent-up frustration, a lot of anger, right? And the worst thing is, when this multiplies, it happens all the time. It could happen for a big business, like let's say IBM, with whom I have worked. It could be with a startup, like Fresh Menu, which is when I had worked with them. That leads to really, really bad places. Just keeps on spiraling and spiraling and spiraling until customers just start leaving in droves. I have faced this many, many times, and there's a very simple way to solve it. Now, you guys are all working in different companies, but right now, I want you to take a moment to think about what that actually looks like in your business. Some of the most common answers go like this. There's low traction. You're trying to launch a product, you're there all over the place, but nobody is biting. You know, it's like your crickets. There's no sound. Slow growth. You might have a product, but when you're trying to amp up, nothing's happening. Other examples, revenue stagnation. This is perhaps like the biggest plague that affects most of the companies out there. They're going well 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, and then, you know, the growth just dies down and it's just like flat. That doesn't help anybody, least of all, the business owners. And worse, especially if it's a big company, like let's say Spar, where I have done some consulting work, what happens is, the systems are set up so that they are going to be stuck with this because it's like a legacy company. Right? It's a hereditary company. They have been doing things this way, so therefore it's going to continue to do, you know, they're going to continue doing it the same way. But if you look at IT companies, and not even, let's say startups, like, you know, tech companies, product companies, there things can happen very, very fast. This is where some of the IT concepts like, let's say, scrums and agile development, they help. Design thinking really helps. When you can saying that, hey, this is not working, so we need to try something else. When you have that freedom, this thing changes. Yet, despite all these problems, there are some companies. Royal Enfield. Anybody here has a bullet? Yes, I could see with a mustache. You too? Awesome. I've had 3 in my life. I have a Mi phone, Harley Davidson, Runner's High. These are all brands which seem to be tremendously successful. But the old way of doing marketing seems to be broken. But this is how it used to work, right? We find people, you know, we take out an ad in the newspaper, we say, we're going to run some Google ads, we're going to put some stuff on PR, we're going to send emails. This is how we end up doing. We're marketing to people. And then we interrupt them. Here's the truth nobody and Baisha, I'm really sorry about this, I know it's being recorded. Here's the truth that nobody wants you to know. Every single brand is a commodity. Nobody cares. Think about in your own life, how many brands are actually there, except for perhaps the Bullet, which I'll get to later. Do you actually care about? Honestly, it doesn't. For me, yes, I have a Mac. I love my Mac. There's a certain reason for it. But then so many of us, I mean, we use a watch, we use a phone, we use shoes, clothes. It doesn't matter. Nobody cares. And that's a massive problem. You could have the best product in the world. You could have the best marketing strategy in the world. But if it doesn't click, you're screwed. But then again, these guys, they are doing it in a different way. And this is what I believe they're doing. They're making champions. And then they're actually enabling the selling so that others are doing the selling for them. Think about how somebody would go for a Bullet. One, they've probably seen it outside on the roads with that trademark thumb. If you see a Mac, you see people like me use it, you're like, oh, I should be doing that too. That happens. Most of you are sitting with, I can see 1, 2, 3 Macs in the room so far. Right? So obviously the thing that goes with Mac people is, hey, we're very different from PC users. We're not like Lenovo. And in fact, what Apple did, they actually ran a massive marketing campaign about a decade ago, Mac versus PC. If you guys have seen that, you should totally check it out. Right, the whole thing is that you want to figure out how you can actually get other people to sell for you. And the core thing there is a message that matters. And now, as I can see from the clock, in the next 50 minutes, I'm going to help you figure out how to do that. Okay? One more exercise. 2 different people. Yes? Okay, I want to first tell me, yes, that is me, surprise. In case you guys didn't know, that is me. 10 years and 40 kilos ago, that was me. But right now, I want you to tell me, what is the image, what is the vibe you're getting from the guy on this side, on your left? What is the vibe you're getting? Just shout out words. Unorganized, college. Rockstar, well, thank you. I've never heard that before. Cool, yes. Rebel, kid, carefree, okay? Energetic, yes. I don't look energetic now. Am I not entertaining? Right, what else? Happy, oh, thank you. This is depressing. This is me not happy, but tell me, what else do you get from this one, apart from not happy? Boring. Oh, ouch. Raveen, you've been influencing everybody now. Focused, okay? What else? Professional, thank you. I like that. Lot of experience. Is it the gray hair? Yeah, must be the gray hair. All right, what else? Why, Macha? Why? But unfortunately, he is true. I mean, he is correct.
There's a lot of confidence oozing from that, so you have
From which one? From this one? Okay, I'm going to take your word for that. But the point is this, these both same pictures, right? Just taken from a different time. So the way we're connecting the message, so again, the message doesn't have to be words written on a page. It could even be an image. Here right now, it's a persona. The persona that you're getting from that side is very different than the persona you're getting here. What about this? It's again coffee. That's filter coffee. This is also filter coffee. Ah, fine. Close enough. Filter coffee for Praveen, not filter coffee for Praveen. This is Starbucks. It cost me $300 a pop. This is $15. Same coffee, same buyer's coffee or whatever. Pretty much the cost of raw materials is the same. Why am I willing to pay that difference? Shout out, why is that better than this? Presentation? Experience. My God, was it in the test or something? Pardon me? Trust in the brand, fair enough. What else? Ambience, okay.
the R&D, the vanity factor.
R&D. What kind of coffee are you drinking?
The vanity factor.
Vanity factor, yes, yes. Coffee at Starbucks. In fact, when Starbucks came into India, they were selling these mugs. They were selling the black market for $4,000 a pop. $4,000 for a coffee mug. Insane. You were saying something else. Stylish, okay. Overall packaging. Pardon me? Presentation, fair enough. So we had that before. What about this one? Functional, simple, emotional. Somebody said emotional. Yes. Why do you say emotional? Okay, I'm sorry. I'm old, like, you know, all the gray hair. I can't hear you.
You have an emotional connect with the
Okay, fair enough, fair enough. That's good. That's a strong connect. What else?
To most people, the lab that they observe.
Yeah, from home, right? Great. So here, fair enough. So here's the thing that I'm trying to say. The difference, they're still the same product, right? But what's different? The story, right? The message that you get. Somebody even mentioned the experience. Experience came out a number of times. And this is what I'm trying to say. Doesn't matter if you are another Me Too product, right? When you guys were showing your plans earlier, you were saying our competition's already doing this. You had like these fancy graphs, and what you were doing? You're saying like, okay, these guys are premium priced and this is like that. That's cool. But again, nobody cares because you cannot be everything for everyone. I remember one example, Mentor Engage, right? I think that was there. And there was also this other gamification, Kudos Now, if I'm not mistaken, right? You guys were talking about stuff. There are already products doing exactly what you do in terms of function, in terms of delivery. How you can differentiate yourself is with this particular aspect, which is the story. So this is what I'm hoping we can finish. How do you actually stop being a commodity? The way most of you were pitching, earlier, that's why I'm calling it as pitching. You were saying, we are like this, but this is how we are different. And then you gave like about 3 paragraphs saying how we are different. Nobody has time for that. Honestly, and I have tried to raise funding in the past. I've sucked miserably at it. But the point is this. You have literally 7 seconds to grab someone's attention. Right? That 7 seconds is all you have. You might have heard that on, let's say, in a video. Right? If you're making YouTube videos, you have literally 3 seconds before somebody clicks away. For a landing page, less than 2. If it doesn't load fast enough, people are going to bounce. You need to somehow grab their attention. And unless you can have a message that matters, you're still going to be a commodity. Next, how do you get people to take action? CTA. I believe the faculty who was there before, she was talking about what is your call to action. Well, here's the fundamental thing. Everything you do is marketing, including sales, including operations, including your operations, including the way you design your product, including the way you manage your projects. Every single bit of that is marketing. Why? Well, sometimes you need to gain traction and support internally, and sometimes you get it externally. Very, very blurred, right? Apart from that, when you're looking at this, when you have the same alignment across, like from ideation to actually reaching the market, when you have the same message coming through, it just gets reinforced time and time and time again. So when you're actually opening up and doing a lot more transparency, you can say, hey, we have a lot of this. And finally, one way to build a message that matters. Okay? There are many, many different ways. I actually conduct them as full-length workshops for companies, and I usually charge about 4 lakhs a pop. You guys are super duper lucky. So this is a shameless plug. In case you want, you can just Google my name. It's an Arvindh Sundar. 2 people already made fun of me. All right, let's start. This is the one thing that every economist has gotten wrong. They said markets are rational. Okay? That's wrong. Purchases are emotional. And the scary thing is, we never buy what we're thinking. If I'm buying that gamification system, I'm buying a way to make my kid behave. I'm buying a way to discipline my kid. I'm buying a way to reward my kid to get the behavior I want. If I'm buying that system that's going to help me manage my invoices, I'm sorry, I don't remember the name of that product. What was that? Quick capture. If I'm buying quick capture, I'm not buying just another system. It's that peace of mind saying, okay, you know what? This is done. I don't have to worry about it. And when I'm very, very clear in articulating that benefit, makes a big difference. We are always buying that feeling. Quick test. What is this? Gym. What do people buy in the gym? Health, fitness? Really? No, that's the benefit. And that's another massive mistake that people do when it comes to marketing and sales. By the way, for me, marketing and sales, just different ends of the spectrum. There is literally no difference. In case anybody else tells you differently, please ask them to come speak to me. I will win them. I'll beat them down. Here, I am motivation. Close. I'm trying to buy attractiveness. It's as simple as that. Or health. That's it. That is what I want to buy. I might be going to the gym because my wife nags me. I might be going to the gym because I want to look good on stage. Either way, health, attractiveness. What about this? What is this? It's a dress. Why am I buying a new dress? I mean, I might not necessarily wear this dress. Let's say it's for my wife. Why would I buy that?
Compliments.
Compliments, brownie points, saving the marriage. I like that. What else? Happiness. I like that too. What else? Gifting, yes. But again, why would I want to gift something?
Express how you feel about it.
Express love, fair enough. For her, if she was getting this, it would make her feel good about herself, boost her confidence, and makes my life better.
compensate for not getting the time.
Okay, who laughed at that? Who laughed at it? Yeah? Okay, here's the fundamental truth. Everything that we do in life, it's okay, don't feel shy, sorry, I've been there. Everything we do in life is either to avoid pain or to gain happiness. That's it. You take anything, any product, anything that we sell. This education that you're all investing in, you obviously purchase it not because you want that MBA degree. You want something out of this, right? Now, this is going on video, so I'm not going to answer any questions here. But the point is, we never buy the product. We buy the feeling, right? And that's pretty much what makes the message matter. This is perhaps the only graph I have. I hate graphs, but this is the thing. In the beginning, people are indifferent. You are a commodity. They don't care about you. I can take you out, put in your competitor's product. Nobody cares. It's completely different. I mean, nobody cares. But when you have a message that matters, what it does is it takes this big chunk of people, what you might be calling tofu, right? Top of the funnel, right? TOFU. You're going to take that people and then you're going to move them to the next one, where suddenly you have relevance. Suddenly it matters to you whether it's a Mac or a PC. Suddenly it matters to you whether it's a Bullet or a KTM. Because a Bullet bike and a KTM appeal to very, very different people. Are you going to Starbucks or are you going to SLV? Again, very, very different people, right? Different mindsets. So then you move to relevance, and then a message that matters, what it actually does, moves you forward into resonance. These are the guys who will pay you money. I'm serious. These are the guys who will say, you know what, shut up and take my money, stop bothering me. Out there are people, they're like, I don't care. Out here, relevant? Yeah, I heard of them, I'm still considering. This is where businesses are made. This is where you make the money. This is where you earn your salary. When you have a message that actually matters, you can actually get these people to take action, right? Now don't worry, the gown is almost done and we're going to start making a message. I'm just saying message that matters is awesome. You need 3 things. And we're going to be covering only one part of one of these. First thing you need is a system. Okay? Right now, I'm doing marketing for this product myself, right? I'm trying to be a drug dealer. I'm giving you you're laughing, but trust me, I'm not allowed to say this on video, but I know somebody who has partaken in certain semi-legal herbs, and what happens is, this is how drug dealers work, okay? And again, I learned this all in Freakonomics, just for the camera. So what happens is this. They're going to say that, hey, here's a free sample, right? And then they get you hooked. And they're like, please, I need more. He's like, yeah, sure, man, $3,000 a baggie. What? From free to 3,000, right? They give a free sample and then they hook. Why? Essentially, when they're giving you something for free, they're getting leverage. Now, suddenly, if you like it, you become pretty much a customer for life, almost. Anyway, you need 3 things: system, structure, and sizzle. Your system comes from everything that is very, very tangible. You must have come across this when you're doing your research, right? It's about you, your product, your competition, your differentiation, all of that. How your market operates, all of that. Your structure comes from common human experiences. Has anybody studied psychology? Yes? What kind? What did you study? Fair enough. Okay, those are some common area I can establish. I'm getting more into cognitive behavioral science, where, again, I'm going to dumb it down a bit, so please don't poke holes in my argument. But the point is this: the way our brain structures, right, is structured, there is a what Seth Godin calls a lizard brain, something that reptile brain. Yes, thank you. A reptile brain, which again functions very much on impulse. You know, it's just you give it a certain stimulus, you can get a certain response. It's a very, very emotional part of the brain. It doesn't function. I mean, it doesn't think. Just functions. And then you have, again, I'm dumbing it down here, you have something called the neocortex, like the modern brain or something, which is the one which does the thinking and the analysis and all that. Common literature, it is misrepresented as left brain and right brain. Right? Most of the stuff, pretty much for the 4 presentations I sat through, each of the ads and the explainer videos were talking about features and benefits. This is awesome. Again, nobody cares. Because every single person is bombarded with messages, man. Day in to day out, from your phone to your WhatsApp to your ads on Google to your push notifications to the stuff that you see on YouTube. Every single person. that you can do to actually differentiate yourself, right? You need to bypass these defenses that you have in your processing, the rational brain, and kind of drill down deeper to say, oh man, this makes sense, right? You want that resonance. It's going to come from common human experiences. And the sizzle, this is quite simple. What makes people think? You can see it everywhere from the internet, from let's say how ClearTrip sells tickets, to how Amazon runs its sales, to how the pornography industry works, to how funds and hedge managers make money. Everything is wired on this. Okay? Okay, we're going to start. Now, the next half an hour or so is going to be hands-on. We have two options. One is you're already split up into teams where you've been pitching for your particular product. So you could go ahead and, okay, by the way, what we're going to do now is kind of build a message that matters, a very simple version of your message that matters, basis what I'm going to be showing on screen. You can do this for this fictitious product, or I don't know what you were doing earlier, but you could build up a positioning statement for that, because you already split up into teams. That will make life easier. That's one option. Or option two, you could, I mean, you're all working on something. It could be a personal project. It could be a company that you're looking to start up. It could be the company that you're working for. It could be a project, your own product. Doesn't matter. So what I want you to do is literally take like about 120 seconds. That's 2 minutes to figure. Yes, it's true. I flunked math, man. You have no idea how difficult this is. 120 seconds to rearrange yourself and put yourself in teams. All right, go. Come on, guys, don't be lazy. I'm the fat guy here. I get to be lazy. Oh, come on, my session's not that bad. And he left. All right? All right, let's roll. Your product, whatever you're offering, operates in a very, very broken world. There is some problem that actually exists, right? That is why you I'm going to say you as a brand or as a product. I'm just going to talk as if each one of you is the product. You exist to solve a certain problem, right? But if you have to translate that and say, this is what is wrong in the world, what would that be? Just take your piece of paper and write it down. Some examples would be, think of it as your favorite epic, right? It could be the Ramayana, it could be the Hobbit, it could be Harry Potter. Let's take the case of Harry Potter. Has everybody heard of Harry Potter? Yes? Awesome. In the beginning of the first book, Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, what happens? Harry is stuck under the steps. His uncle and his aunt are torturing him. He has an idiot for a cousin. And he really, really is desperate to break out of that world, right? And then he's supposed to be getting these letters. What does Uncle Vernon do? He takes them all away, right? He's just trying to make sure that any bit of magic inside is tapped out. So that's what the problem is. In Harry's world, the problem is that he wants to escape from that world because it's a very, very horrible place. He has horrible family. And he is actually destined for greatness, but his uncle's not letting that happen. So similarly, for your product, what would the place be where something is broken? Please write that down. Don't be shy, everything's okay. Any of you wants to do some more research on this later? This framework is based on something called the monomyth. M-O-N-O-M-Y-T-H. It is the work of this guy called Joseph Campbell, who has literally studied every single myth that's been written in the world. Okay, it also goes by the name called the hero's journey. Ideally, we're going to get to more details of that by the end. It's all going to make sense. But right now, what's broken? Joseph Campbell. Have you read that?
I started reading, but then
Yeah, it's heavy, man. It's heavy. I mean, very dense, yes. Some example statements could be storing invoices is an absolute pain, right? Maybe that could be the one for quick capture. For kudos, right, now it could be something like, it is very, very difficult to manage kids without slapping them in the face. I'm just exaggerating, but you get the drift, right? Next question. We have somebody who's finished, so we're going to move on. Who's the hero? So if you think about the story, right? We have Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. Somebody is the hero. Harry is the hero. He's the one who's actually living in this broken world. So in your case, who do you think would be the hero? Just shout out. Any answers? The child? Okay, close enough. Yes.
The person who faced the issue.
Exactly. What's your name? Asif.
ASIT.
Asit has the right answer. It's the person who's actually facing the problem. In marketing terms, this is the person who's going to pay you money. Okay, your paying customer is the hero. So whoever is going to be your paying customer, you got to write that down. So in your case, I think it would actually be the parent, not the child. Yeah. No, parent and child would be very different here, because the child is just experiencing the system, but the parent is the one who's actually using it. Yes. Almost, that's right. So you tell me, what works for you? So the right answer, okay, this is not me. The right answer is, it could be both. Simply because first you have to get the user's attention, and then you have to equip them enough so that they can do an internal to pay. What happens at Jigsaw Academy, where I'm heading the marketing team, we have, like, let's say about 15, 16 different people, right? And then they all come up with, my end goal is this. I want to double organic traffic pretty much every 6 months. That's my goal. That's what I'm operating with. There are many, many different ways to do it. I have a team that focuses on SEM. I have a team that focuses on SEO. I have a team that focuses on, let's say, CRO, conversion rate optimization. Somebody else focuses on content production. So each one of them, for example, just last week, my video team came up to me and said, hey, listen, we need to buy this mic. It's about 20 grand, and I think it's going to help us with this. At the same time, they're the ones who are going to use it. I'm the guy who has to sign on the check. So they come and they make that pitch to me. At the same time, the content team comes up and say, hey, you know what? We've been using Unbounce, but I think we should probably move to InstaPage, because that's generation and stuff like that. So the first one that you should capture, and then move them to essentially take action and sell to the person who has the money. In some cases, in many cases, what will happen is you'll have some people called the purchasing department come in the way. Horrible people, but you have to make them your best friends. And this is how you're going to do it. Yeah? Okay?
You were saying that the hero would be both the business and the IT.
Yes. So what I'm trying to develop different versions of this message. When you're going to be, so you have to build one for IT saying, hey, this will help you refactor your code in. But then when you're speaking to business, you can say, hey, because team's productivity. So you see what happens, right? Different messages, but you're still communicating the same thing. Develop this for the person who's going to be using your product. It's a very good way, and it's a repeatable process. Feel free to, what do you say? Just write down these questions, no problem. Or take photos. I thought I saw somebody take. What's your name? Lala. Okay, thank you, Lala. See, here's the thing, and this is something that is going back to this exercise that we were doing. You got to start with one, right? You have to niche down, because in the beginning, okay, assuming that you are starting from the beginning, you need to gain traction. And if you're going to be all over the place in terms of channels, in terms of the target audience, in terms of the messaging, in terms of the actions that you want people to take, your results are going to be very, very diffused. What I would recommend is instead of trying to start 3 businesses at once, start 1 business and then become like a serial entrepreneur.
But if you take the case of an aggregator, right?
Mm-hmm.
They need both the seller as well as the buyer.
Yes. Yes. So then you have to have 2 different stories. So one would be up the chain, one would be down the chain, without a doubt.
So that's why I was asking you.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. But then like I told him, again, somebody who's going to be paying for this, somebody's going to be using it. That's 2 different use cases. Similarly, in your case, end user and supplier. That's always going to be the case. So again, how you would do this is once you make a message that matters for one person, because there, in one version of the story, you're going to be having the person who is going to be giving you the data to aggregate. That's one thing. And then downstream, you're going to be having a separate message. And why and how you're going to be using this is, of course, you must have learned about targeting, right? When you're going to be doing targeting online or when you're doing your sales pitch, you need to understand each of these. I believe you had personas as well, right? So when you're making these personas, different personas would be coming in here. So you're going to be selling to them differently. All right, moving on. Who's the mentor? In Harry Potter, when Harry's having the worst time of his life, we have Hagrid step in. Hagrid comes in, tells him, "You're a wizard, Harry," and then Harry's life changes, right? Who is the mentor in our story? Close. I like that. Product is a good answer. It would be the company itself, right? Because there could be different things you provide. The service, the support, all of that. But you, the product, the brand, whatever you are the mentor. Now, this is the beautiful thing. Most of you, yes. So okay, you'll just get that. Just cover this, okay? The mentor is somebody who's going to be giving advice to the hero to defeat the big bad villain. Somebody who's going to help the hero defeat the villain, right? Harry's big villain was what? Getting into wizard school could be an option. Voldemort, that's always a big option. But when you're looking at each of these, what's happening is, first, you have the hero who's living in a very, very unhappy world. Then we realized who the hero was. Then now we're talking about who's somebody who can mentor the hero to defeat this villain. Could be, because the broken world is caused by this big bad villain. So here, this is a very close allegiance to what you would call as the problem you're solving, right? No, pain point are symptoms, right? But what is the deep-rooted problem that actually exists? Like in that quick capture example, I mean, one thing that's coming up for me is, I mean, it's horribly painful to keep track of invoices, right? But the symptom of that is, hey, my invoices get lost, thermal paper dries up, I don't know, whatever that happens, right? Those are all symptoms. Those are all the pain points. But the problem underlying is this. One very, very useful technique when you're trying to find this is to ask why several times. 5 times, 7 why. It goes by many techniques, many names. But the point is, why is that important? Why is that relevant? If you keep on asking stuff like this, you're going to get to one core pain point, as he says. Drill further until you reach that fundamental reason of why the world is in that bad state that we spoke about. When you're doing this, it's very, very important to answer 2 questions, which are not here. 1, is that problem actually big enough? And 2, does it matter? Big enough means that in search terms, are there enough people looking for this problem? Second, is that problem important enough? Right? So think about gyms. Obviously, they're solving a very, very important problem, right? Health or attractiveness. And is that important enough? Yes. Every year in the first 3 months, people spend like maybe 30 grand, 40 grand, 50 grand for the entire year just to get membership in a gym. And then they drop out in the second month. Motivation is a different issue, but the problem is there. There are enough people who want the gym facilities, and it is a big enough problem for that they keep on doing this again and again. So similarly for your product, you have to ask yourself, 1, who's that big bad villain that I'm going to be fighting? And second, how big is that problem and how important is that problem? In case a business is failing, it's because 1, the problem is not big enough or it's not important enough. All right? So we got this?
The problem is not big enough for
Market size.
So you need to do a lot of research.
Yes, without a doubt. Like, there's this some famous quote, right, about Abraham Lincoln, give me 6 hours to chop a tree, I'm going to spend 5 hours sharpening the axe. I don't know if it's true, but it makes a lot of sense. And don't ever trust a market agency, market research thing. Because I've been on the receiving end. Okay, this is a side anecdote. One of the things that I have done in my past is do first-hand, what is that called? Primary data research, right? Primary research. Yes. No, not secondary. I was the guy, sir, can you please fill up the survey? I was the guy, calling up and trying to do this. Many times, and I have seen this across a number of very reputed agencies, and even the agencies that help you do research online, people just click on random stuff. They have zero interest in actually saying that, hey, does it matter if I'm giving the wrong answer or not? They don't care. The best way that I have found to do research is in the beginning, you have to do things that don't scale, right? So literally, if you are the product owner, you find the person who's going to be using the product and say, hey, can I buy you coffee? I'm just going to sit and listen, not even talk. I'm just going to go ask questions and ask questions and ask questions until I get the research. The moment you can get somebody in a non-threatening place and keep on asking them questions, that's enough. You don't need like 5,000 people. If you get, let's say, 10 people to actually answer, 10 is again a random number I'm pulling up. But for one of my products, the workshop that I offer, I've actually spoken to almost like 20, 25 people or so. I've actually set up meetings. I go to their office, I sit to them, hey, listen, I know you're busy, let me know when we can talk. And then after that, set up that meeting and then you listen. They say the biggest problem I have is my sales. The stuff that I said in the third or fourth slide, what does this look like? Low traction, low stack. These are their words, not mine. They look good on the slide because I used a good font, but this is exactly what they have said. And usually when I'm in a room full of, let's say, CEOs, entrepreneurs, they're like, oh, yes. And then I get the money. So I'm happy. Right, a mentor. Somebody asked about what does the mentor do, right? We spoke about the mentor who will be helping the hero defeat the villain. And that's by giving them some gifts. Usually it's 2 or 3. And what does Hagrid give him? Well, Hagrid gives Harry entrance into Diagon Alley, helps him get into Hogwarts, all of those things. But as a company, you are going to be giving your hero, which is your paying customer or your using customer, certain gifts, certain benefits to help them defeat the villain. So the villain could be that keeping track of invoices is really, really difficult. So the gifts could be, for an example, a system to manage. I don't know your product, but I'm just saying that. In your case of, I forgot the name, Kudos now. It could be that an actual gamified system, maybe that's based on, let's say, the Octalysis framework to reward and punish the child for healthy growth. So you could have the system, right? That would be the first point. The second point could be a framework itself. In my workshops, right now, what I'm giving you guys is a framework. You can take these questions, copy them, sell them, I don't care. But the point is, this is the framework that I'm giving you, right? I'm giving you knowledge. I'm giving you a guarantee that if you do this, you're going to be having this sort of a benefit. So gifts can be the actual product. It could be an experience. It could be a framework. It could be a way of thinking. It could be a skill. It could be a healthy body, like a gym's supposed to provide. Supposed to, I've never found out. Right? Any questions so far? Getting a lot of blank faces. Guys, I'm trying to rush through, don't worry. Almost done. And Vaishya, yes, I can share this deck with you. I don't think it's, yeah, cool. So yeah, don't like feverishly write down stuff. You'll get this, so breathe. All right. So gifts could be, like I said, in any particular format, right? And this is perhaps the most important. And this is where you have like the biggest room to differentiate yourself from the competition. How does your gift work? How does your gift transform your paying customer's life into something that's peaceful, right? This is another opportunity, and this is your gifts and the way they work. This is the secret behind how you stop calling yourself a commodity. I know this because I'm also the head of marketing of Jigsaw Academy, right? Companies like Upgrad, they have a ton of money. I think according to one recent press release, they have a budget of about 100 crore. 100 crores to spend on marketing. My monthly budget is 20 lakhs. We still kick ass. Why? Because of this. The way I have been able to craft it in such a way that our organic, we don't need to spend 20 lakhs. Our profitability is significantly higher. I can't go into details of that, but the point is the story that we tell. We have like about 7 or 8 different personas for different kinds of people. We have given them funny names like the frog, somebody who wants to jump from one job to the other. Then the climber who wants a promotion. Somebody who just wants to level up, right? So we have somebody, Arnold Schwarzenegger is one of them, the guy who wants to become the best data scientist ever. We have people like that. These are people who are willing to pay up to 3.5 lakhs for about 1 year of education. I'm cool, give me your money, you know? But the point is, I'm able to get different messages in front of different people and therefore compel them to take action. Because the stories that they're telling me are taken from words that they give me. So that's the main thing. So how do your gifts help? This is where you have maximum opportunity to differentiate yourself. And then, happily ever after. So remember, we started in a horrible world. Something was wrong with the world as it was, right? There's something wrong, something broken in the status quo. And then what happens? The hero is living in that certain world. Then a mentor comes in and says, hey, you know what? You don't have to live there. Gifts that you can use to defeat this big bad villain and escape from the status quo that he has created and now live in the new normal, a happily ever after. If you think about any of these stories, again, this is pure learning from A Hero with 1,000 Faces, right? Everybody exists in a very, very horrible world. Even in your own lives, you could be living in a very, very bad place. I'm not saying just because you're in this classroom. That was a joke. Please laugh. Thank you. Thank you. But what happens is you're living in a very, very horrible place, right? And then you want to get out of that. Think of yourself as a customer. There might be something that you want to buy. I might want to buy a new mic or perhaps a better camera. And then I'm doing all this research, right? So I'm living in that horrible world. Somebody comes in and says, hey, this is good for you. This is going to help you defeat this big, big problem that you have. And then become happy. So what does happily ever after look like? Please write that down in your businesses. If you're not, you can obviously go back, refer to this and see what is it that you can do. Now, just now I enacted a story, right? We're living in a horrible place, we end up in happily ever after. Has anybody, okay, can somebody tell me what that story is for their own product? I like you because you're sitting in the middle. Please tell me. Okay, yes, we have a volunteer. Okay. Okay, wait, I just cannot hear you. Oh, do that, see? I'm so fat. Go on.
Hello?
Yes.
Okay. So the product is VoiceBot. So what is broken is like today's the customer support is not seamless and it doesn't work for all scenarios and so on. And the hero is the first customer who is going to buy our VoiceBot. And the mentor is like the engineers or the technical, our own company or the CEO. And the big bad villain are the first frustrated users. Like that is what the hero is trying to fight again. And what do you give the hero, like a voice bot that or the enough technique like machine learning or something like that that makes it work for every scenario. And the happily ever after scenario is like all the customers have deployed our solution and their users are happy.
Okay, okay. That's a very, very typical answer I get. And that was also one of the most boring stories ever. Here's a better way. I'm giving you a template. Don't feel bad, okay? It's true because I'm trained in the art of storytelling. This is what I do for a living, right? For the past 15 years or so, this is it. This is what I've been doing. Here's a template that you can steal and use at any given point of time. Don't worry, you don't have to take photos. You will get the deck. The hero lives in status quo caused by the villain, mentor. Wait. Now it actually, come on. I thought I could like, very intense look and like Aziz Ansari sort of thing. Anyway, hero lives in a status quo caused by the villain. The mentor gives gifts to the hero. The hero defeats the villain using the method. And hero now lives happily ever after. You see this? It's a short story, fits in one page, less than 20 words. You gave me half a page. It's like a 10-mark question. Doesn't work. The reason for it is if this is a story, like literally, if you're going to be doing like an elevator pitch, you need to have something as crisp as this. You could even skip the last line. I mean, it doesn't matter, but you need to be able to get in as much of information as quickly as possible so that you don't bore people to death. Unfortunately, the 4 things that I had seen earlier, the presentations also, you guys had like an entire slide. Imagine you're meeting somebody saying that, hey, look, anytime you have an elevator pitch, anytime you want to get across a key point, the end goal is to have a further, longer conversation, right? You want to grab them, you want to get their attention, you want to get them that hook. In the beginning, I told you a story about Upma and how I ended up paying $400 for it, right? And then the common theme that's been going on is like, hey, what next, what next, what next? Because I've been talking about jokes and how all of that ties back to messaging. I gave you a teaser in the beginning. This is going to be your teaser. So let's take a second stab at your story. Okay? Somebody else this time who's going to use this framework. Yes. Can we get him the mic, please?
HR heads face the problem they don't get the right fitment for the candidates they hire. Some people leave after 1 month, 2 months.
Okay, I'm going to stop you right there. I'm just going to give you... Come on, man. It's not because of that. The reason is I would like to give you feedback on how I would essentially do some wordsmithing to improve that story.
Sure.
HR teams cannot find the right candidate. It's as simple as that. That's a common problem, which is a good thing because you want to have a common problem, but an uncommon way of solving that problem. So if it's a common problem, people say, there is potential in that. So instead of saying HR heads can't find right fitment, if I'm somebody who has money but don't understand HR teams, I don't care. But now when you can say this, that HR teams have difficulty finding the right candidate, go on.
Okay. HR teams have the problem, difficulty in finding the right candidates. People leave after a certain time. Maybe they don't scale up to the expectation. Projects suffer.
Okay, hold on. You're going into, don't mind me. I'm just trying to help you.
Too much.
Yes. Got it. You're going into too much detail. But you know where you need to do this? Huh? Follow this. Yeah.
Sure.
So, but what you're doing is very good. This is what you would want on your website's About Us page, your brochure. It's true. It's true. Don't laugh. It's true. It's very true. You need to have all this. But right now, we're trying to get these 4 sentences. That's just like the distillation of why you exist. Why should I care? Go on.
So our platform gives you the rights evaluation.
What's the name of your platform?
UAccess.
Okay. So
UAccess gives the right evaluation framework to solve this.
Okay.
If you use this, you will not. You will get right persons to probably work for you, and 90% of the people will not leave the company for the next 5 years.
Okay. Great. Put that together. Now, a couple of issues that I've noticed is many people, when they go through this exercise, is that they fall back on features and advantages. Usually in sales training, they talk about features and benefits, right? Features, advantages, and benefits. Features are really facts about the product. Advantages are good things that a product can do. Benefits are what are the good things a product can do to address a specific problem a customer has. So, a message, the villain and the problem that actually exists should be essentially backtracked, and someone has a specific problem, right? So you have most of this thing here, but when you're going to be saying this is why it's good, when you're trying to communicate that, speak in terms of benefits as opposed to advantages, which are generic and can be applied to anybody. But benefits, when you're saying that, what happens is it becomes very specific to the problem the customer has and the product you are offering. All right? Let's try one more. Who else? Yes. Once again, please, mic for the benefit.
Parents who live in chaotic environment and state of guilt due to lack of time and way of teaching discipline to their children, Kudos now gives the gamification platform for positive reinforcement to parents. Parents defeat the daily chaos using the recording and rewarding mechanism, and now parents live with their kids in harmony.
That's good. That's a good attempt. Now, the first sentence that you had, right? You had like a big explanation instead of saying guilty parents, right? Again, brevity is the soul of wit. That is the stuff that's actually going to stick. Like Nike, just do it. Like literally what? 8 letters and 2 spaces in between. Idea is to shrink this as much as possible so that, let's say, you could even show this in a Google ad, right? On a display ad, you can show it there. It could be like in the first, whatever the line of your Google text ad itself. You can do this on Facebook, anywhere. Pardon me?
We call it copy.
Yeah, copy. Well, technically yes, but it could also be reinforced through your content. Copy is the advertising agency term. And yes, you are absolutely right. But even through your content, whether you're making it on audio, on video, on text, on images, doesn't matter. You need to keep on reinforcing it. Think of it almost like your tagline, all right? Essentially, you could distill this. For me, my thing is sell more stuff. Okay, that's it. That's all I need to tell anybody, to tell people, what do you do? Oh, I help companies sell more stuff. That's it. So you see how succinct that is. Yes, and like he said, you can definitely delve into greater detail about each one of these in the future. That's a good attempt. Can we have a round of applause, please? Thank you. One more. I need one more. Yes. Give me, please. Oh, we have two people. Awesome. And then there was electricity. Yes.
The dean is worried about the low campus placements for his college.
Okay.
Kudos now gives him a real-time instant feedback platform.
Okay.
The dean basically improves the presentation skills of his students.
Okay.
And he achieves 100% campus placement record.
Wow. Thank you. I'm feeling so proud. I'm feeling so proud. Just one second. I just want to cover one very important aspect of what you said. Now, when you were talking, it felt to me, right, that you were not able to fit in all the benefits, right? You guys have a wonderful product and you have so many different features and benefits. Like, hey, it does this and this and this. It can help this people, that people, that people, right? It's always going to be the case. And I believe like the art in marketing, like you guys have learned the science, right? Like you have to look at this ad volume, you have to look at this, you have to look at that. The data is always there. But the art in marketing actually comes in when you can exercise that restraint and have that laser focus. When you just niche down on this one guy, you want to like dominate that one particular market and then you want to move on to the next. Because that's the easiest way to get traction. Speaking of traction, there is a wonderful book called Traction. Have you guys heard of that? No? Okay, just Google for it. I think you can get it first 2 chapters for free or something, but it's all about go-to-market strategies. Okay? So the traction, wow, that's synchronized coughing. Never seen that. But the idea behind traction is how do you like gain initial traction, your first 1,000 fans, let's say, for your product. All right? That'll definitely be helpful. But thank you for that. I really appreciate that. Yes.
Going to take the same subject of Manas what
yes.
just now we spoke. So right fitment is an instrumental for any organizational growth. USS is the solution which fits in this area, and there is no mismatch ever after.
Okay, can you please repeat that? You were a bit too fast for me.
Right fitment is an instrumental for any organizational growth. USS is the solution which fits in this area. There is no mismatch ever after.
Okay, I'm not exactly following this. So let's break it down. Who's your hero?
HR manager.
Okay, HR managers. Okay, lives and the status quo is. No, I just want your answer. I'm not saying it's wrong. It's just that I'm hard of hearing. So what is your answer?
Right fitment.
Right fit. Okay, right fitment. Caused by.
Candidates.
Not necessarily. So especially when you. Okay, and this is a very, very useful marketing gimmick wherever you guys go. When you can't find anything concrete to differentiate yourself on, right? This is what happens in a commodity market, right? Salt, it might be iodized, it might be non-iodized, and that's pretty much the only difference. Sugar is still sugar. So the difference is very simply to go on emotion, right? So you can say mismatch in values, mismatch in alignment between what the candidate wants, what they're going to offer. And these, trust me, these are emotional. These are things that will directly appeal to somebody at a much stronger level. They're much, much easier to prove with anecdotal evidence as well. Again, don't ever lie in marketing. Nothing ever comes good of it. But this is a very, very honest to God fact that you can find it if you just go out and interview people. You interview candidates and you interview HR. These guys are not doing this. Employees, they'll be like, I honestly don't care about the company's vision. You see that disconnect? Values. That's all. Fair enough. The mentor is your product. Yes. What are the gifts?
The test or assessment tools.
Yes. Assessments. What else?
That's it.
Fair enough. Assessment and frameworks as well. You can always throw that in. What else? What is the method?
What is that?
Method. This bit.
Yep.
Using the product. Just that it.
I mean,
Go ahead. Be creative. It's okay.
skill gap.
Yeah. Address the skill gap.
Right.
Okay. That's another option. Using the product. Assess the skill gap. What else?
Once they do the skill gap, they get the right fitment, right? They get the proper candidate.
Okay. By giving access to a pool of appropriate candidates, let's say. All right. And then now what happens to the HR manager after they get access to all of this?
So he gets the right candidate for that position.
Okay. But let's go a little bit more macro. What does that mean? If I get the right candidate as the HR manager, what does that mean? Pardon me? Less attrition, yes. What else? Happy employees, better fit. Organization. Money! Come on guys, you guys in an MBA. Money should be the only thing. Right? Money, well, not the only thing, but okay, now I'm in a moral dilemma. Do I say yes to money or no to money? No, the point is this, and you should totally check out the free gift that I'm going to be giving you later. But money is important, but there are things more important. In fact, there's a concept that I've developed. It's called the Way of Dominion. It's a set of 8 directives that you'll get to know. But one of the directives is your champions before profits. Before you take out the money, you want to give the best possible experience to your customers so they start selling for you. Imagine, man, you can just like sit, create content all day, or hire somebody to do the content. They'll be running the business, and you can just relax because your customers are doing the selling. That's definitely doable. If you're still stuck, especially in terms of differentiation, you can look at some of these different ideas. Compliments that your company gets, or when you're doing a demo, you can say, oh, somebody said, oh, that's nice, right? Keep track of that. That is a very good option to differentiate yourself. This is a limited list, but also partners that you have. Jigsaw Academy, the company that I also represent, is partnered with the University of Chicago, right? So that's a very unique partnership. Nobody else has that. Unique activities, like, giving like reward stickers, let's say, right? That could be a very unique thing. The relationship that you have with customers. Is it just a one-time thing, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am? Or is it a long committed relationship where both of you are invested in succeeding? Is it a subscription model like Netflix? Or do you give like 1 month free trial and then charge for that? Do you give a freemium model? Many, many different ways to look at how you're going to differentiate yourself. Delivery channels. Right now, I'm here talking to you in person. I have delivered the same presentation for people in Japan. I delivered this to people in the US, the UK, Helsinki, all of these places through online. So there is a difference, right? I can deliver it online or offline. I do it for startups and entrepreneurs. I do it for a class like this. Delivery channels is a very good way. Me, very, very special. As the wonderful introduction went, you could feel my presence when I walked into the room. It's not gravity, though I am big, but thank you. But definitely this humor, right? And then the way I'm talking, the way I'm dressing, the way I'm addressing each one of you, all of this is a package, You guys can take this content, but you can never be me, right? So that's I'm selling me, pretty much. The purchase experience, the way you buy a MacBook, and I'm very, very fond of MacBooks, by the way, is very, very different than, let's say, you'd be buying a Lenovo, right? I mean, after Amazon and all that, but when you walk into that Apple store, it's like going into a temple. You just walk in, it's that clean flooring, then you have the clean tables, you have the shiny aluminum laptops in there, you have the gentle music, you have people who are going to be selling, but they're still far away, they don't come and, even hamper you. Even the laptop screens, they're angled in such a way that you'll have to adjust the screen so that you see it properly. That is by intention, by the way, so that they get you to touch the product and feel it, right? So they build your affinity like that. You have the genius. Okay, I'm going to stop, but you get the point. Product usage, the way you use a computer, the way you use anything, that also matters, right? Almost done. Okay? I know most of you are hungry. 3 people have looked at their watches already, and Mano is watching TikTok. All right. Where do you use this message that matters? This is the final bit. We're almost done. We're like 5-6 slides away. Questions? Answers for this, please. What? Who said that? Pretty much everywhere. Thank you. That means you've been paying attention or you've seen my deck. Either one. But the point is this, right? From your advertising to your marketing to the way you speak. Even in this speech, right, or this session, I've used the word dominate 6 or 7 times because that's very, very closely tied to my lab, my brand, Domination Labs, right? So I'm using a certain, this is what they call the brand Bible when you go into the agency side. The language, the colors, my watch matches the color of this thing, my pen matches that, the blue, yeah, you see? But yes, that's the point. You're going to tie everything together, right? Now, when you were giving that message, which was really, really amazing, I noticed that you were still leaving some bit out. And you'll get this too, but you can make different versions of your message. And you need to, because some people will be paying you money, some will be using your product, right? Some will be up the value chain, some will be down the value chain. Suppliers, users. You can build many, many different messages. What this is a framework. Framework that you're free to take and use for yourself. But the key point here is very, very simple. When you use this framework, you're not appealing to the logical, factual side of things. You're appealing to the emotional side. And that's where you get the money. So far, we started off with system, structure, and sizzle. We saw why some kinds of messaging and marketing don't work, why some of them do. Then we stepped in and then we saw that how people actually buy the feeling and not the product. Nobody cares about the product. Your packaging, you might think is very important. It is. Why? Because it's going to evoke a certain feeling in the people. And then we moved on to see how you could build this product on the basis of this message that matters, on the basis of different questions that we can answer. Then we also had a template. It's a small fraction of the entire workshop, but I do have a gift for you. Some of the stuff that I'm learning, some of the stuff on which is based on the way of dominion, right? It's a set of 8 rules that I think every business should follow if they actually want to dominate their market. That, along with different techniques and tips and tricks that you can use to boost your marketing, your sales, and your communication effectiveness, it's all there. I'm going to give you the link, but before that, any questions? Yes?
When you're trying to solve a problem, you're always
Yes.
if your knowledge is not beyond, knowledge is not up to the extent that you go beyond a certain boundary, then how are you going to solve the problem? It means your knowledge is limited. So
okay. So your knowledge of what?
So when you say like the 7 whys you had that question, right? The 5 whys or the 7 whys that you get across. Now you're able to go to the 5th why and the 6th why is like, I think this is it. But the problem could be much beyond that.
Thank you. Important question. Because you know what? Out there in the world, I don't have all the answers. Sometimes this is true, which is essentially just gut feeling. But a much so even when we're running ads, right? So you guys were talking about Facebook ads and Google ads, right? If my budget is, let's say, 100%, you know what we do? When we're launching a new campaign, we'll have some gut. We want to push this message instead of this. Be strong opposition. So we take the budget, and then we split it 1.5 and 1.5. And we do A/B testing to see which one actually works. Because again, I don't know. I don't have time to go speak to every single student. But I know that if I can go out and quantitatively test this data, along with a sample size that's big enough, then I can go off and say, hey, you know what? This looks like it's going to be the right choice. And then we're going to go with it. That's one option. Second thing, if you don't know, go speak to somebody who knows. That's why you're going to be speaking to your customer, right? People who are going to pay you money, you want to get to them and say, hey, tell me what's bugging you. And then you keep on asking them, why? Why are you doing the hard work? Let them do it. I'm serious. Yes.
Okay. So you just mentioned a few minutes back that when you can't find anything very concrete to differentiate among yourselves, you hit on the emotional and values part of it. Can you give an example for that?
Reebok and Nike, both sports brands. Bullet and Harley Davidson, right? Now, if you look at any commodity bike brand like TVS or Hero Honda, right? Sometimes they differentiate themselves on features and benefits. But for me, it doesn't really matter. But Bullet stands out of the pack. It represents the spirit of the open road, just like a Harley. For me, a Bullet is like an Indian Harley. I mean, that's my understanding, right? They are standing out. How? They're saying that you have the open road, you can travel, this is... Same with cycling now, right? A lot of people, like people who cycle to work, are like, ooh, really cool. So when you're looking at certain values, right? So when I go into the workshop, one of the questions is, what are the values that are important to you as a company? Sometimes it could be integrity. Sometimes it could be honesty. Sometimes it could be ethical sourcing. There are like coffee companies, right, which are anti-Starbucks. Why? Because they say that, hey, we source everything ethically, we source everything locally, and then they just use that as their differentiation to attract the attention of a very, very certain cachet of customers, like people who actually care about that, right? So that's pretty much it. When you're saying that these are the values that we stand behind, what happens is, remember that we had that slide about resonance, irrelevant, people don't care, people know about you, then people start caring. That's the difference. Here is where when you start talking about these values, that's when people start caring. But when you're able to amplify that message and hammer it home again and again and again, that's when it's going to start resonating with a very, very small group. You start out with, let's say, 100%, okay? Maybe, again, this is just random numbers I'm throwing out, but for proportion, 100 to 80 to maybe like 3% end up actually resonating with you. So if you're stuck, look at the values that are important to you, that's going to give you the answer.
Sometimes they do also kind of create a scarcity of resources by at least challenging your emotional piece where this...
Okay, so getting people to take action is, I'm guessing that's what it's coming down to. So there are two ways. One, you can bake it into your brand, right? Where, for example, if I have cancer, chemotherapy is, very, very high on my list. But if I need a new pair of shoes, maybe, maybe not. So obviously it depends on how important your product is. In some cases, the need of the product is either 0 or 1, right? It's like a life-saving drug. So we're not bothered about that. If you have that, you don't need much marketing. But when you're coming to this side, where it's fluid, there are two ways. One, you can do is you can attract this very, very loyal tribe of customer advocates, get them to do the selling for you by delivering super duper service. Second is you can use techniques of influence. There is this author called Robert Cialdini who's written a book called Influence. And also there's this other guy called Daniel Kahneman who's written this book called Thinking Fast and Slow. Both of these books will give you tremendous insight on how to get people to do what you want. Now, this is the good stuff, right? But like Uncle Ben in Spider-Man says, with great power comes great responsibility. Trust me, when I have like a budget of 20 lakhs and I can spend it on whatever I want, I can go and lie to the customer and get them to buy. They will buy it, and I'm not going to give them any money back. But that power, you see what I'm doing? I can totally mess up the brand. I can totally destroy the trust that I've created with the customer, and I can pretty much throw myself out of a job. The point is this: when you have that much of power, when you couple it with these ideas which will multiply your execution, suddenly you can do pretty much what you want. You have these resources, you can aramse go ahead, use them in your own marketing. Use it with caution. The gentleman at the back. Oh, wow, telepathic.
No, it's basically I want to ask you about your bullet.
Ah.
I know it's a fact. People don't know whether it's a push note or a push note. They don't know the details.
It's a bullet.
Create a tribe, it's marketing.
Create a tribe. Speaking of which, there's another wonderful book called The Culting of Brands. I forget the author's name. It was about $1,000, but it was the best $1,000 I've ever spent. Literally, that book teaches you how to build a tribe, right? How you have to prey on not the people who are completely marginalized, but people like you and me. How do you appeal to make them feel like they belong? How do you kind of reinforce that? What are the things that you can do? Like, I'm trying to do that. Like people who finish my email course, they get a special title. Only they can call themselves initiates, nobody else. So you see, you make them belong, stuff like that. So yes, thank you for that.
Arvindh.
Douglas Atkins, yes. Yes.
One question on as a startup, we all planning to launch some product. So what sort of marketing you suggest? We don't have like 20 lakh to invest. So what is the math or logic we can follow?
Couple of ways. My favorite way is pre-selling. Okay, you don't make the product. You build a landing page, you build some ads, you build a copy, and then you sell the product saying that, hey, get on the pre-order list. So your customer is literally paying you to build the product. Best way to do it. Otherwise, if it's just an information product like this, build it, set up a click funnel, see how you can actually try if people are actually biting. One option. Second, do the customer research. Find people whom you think are going to buy your product and go tell them, hey, tell me what is the biggest problem you have, and then do that. Third thing, you could build up something of value that you can give off as an opt-in bribe in your email marketing sequence. And the first email you send out, Is this whatever the freebie that you're giving? Second question is, hey, what is your biggest problem? When you have enough answers, like let's say about 100, 200 of them, you see some recurring patterns, there's your opportunity for a product. If you don't have money for marketing, in the beginning, do what I did. Do stuff that doesn't scale. That's what Airbnb did. They literally went in saying, hey, I will help you sign up. They took their laptop with them and their own hotspot saying, listen, don't worry, I will help you get onto Airbnb. In the beginning, that's the only way. We don't have access to that kind of money. My company does, where I'm working, but for me, I don't have that. Like even now, Domination Labs, the way I actually managed to get in, I literally had a message for every single person. I found the phone number. I'm calling, hey, listen, this is what I think would be of benefit to you. I see that you're running this sort of a course. I think it would be very, very useful to your students. Literally, like 300 phone calls. 18 of them clicked. I'm happy. And you're lucky. What else? Yes? Huh?
How do you make him see that is a critical need for him?
Beautiful question. And again, I'm going to throw another book at you. But the point is, there's a book called Spin Selling by Neil Rackman, I think the author's name is, where he talks about how to sell. Okay? Situational, I forget, SPIN stand for something. But the point is this. When you get in that conversation, it could be either online or in person, you need to start talking to them, asking them, identify what is their problem. What is the situation like? What is the problem they're facing? And then you got to amplify that problem, right? Which is something, again, I teach in my workshops, which is you're going to ask them about their implicit needs and their explicit needs. And once you identify that, once the customer says, yes, this is the problem, boom, that's your explicit need. But how do you get from the situation they are to this? You talk to them. And if you have to do it in marketing, like which is essentially scale, you can definitely look at email marketing, right? You have tools like ConvertKit, you have tools like ActiveCampaign or MailChimp, which allow you to set up something called autoresponders. Think of it as a massive decision tree. Everybody gets the same first email, okay? But in that email, and this is something I do at Jigsaw Academy, I say, okay, good example, Jigsaw Academy. People want to study data science. In that question, I have 3 links saying, hey, choose the one that best describes you. I am doing data science because I want a better job. I'm doing data science because my manager has asked me to do it. I'm doing data science because I want to change my industry. 3 options. Depending on what they click, the story changes. The mails that are going to come are also changing. This is known as marketing automation. You can obviously make it more complex by tracking their behavior on the website, on your mobile app, how they interact, if they're forwarding it, how they interact with you on social media. That is definitely beyond the scope of this particular session, but there are tools and techniques that exist to help you do the same thing if you cannot go talk to them in person. But in the beginning, do stuff that doesn't scale, go talk to them. Best way.
So the format that you showed us, is that only system or do you have some more
thank you. This is a very good segue for my marketing pitch. This is only this is only a portion of the whole thing, right? This comes from the structure side of the workshop. There's still bits about the system and bits about the sizzle, which will kind of partially address some of the questions that you are asking. But that is like about a 2.5 day workshop. And I could probably answer some questions for you one-on-one, but it's 2.5 days worth of content, man. I'm sorry, I can't help you with that here.
trailer maybe?
What is that called? Explainer video. Yes, I'm going to do that. Yes. You are not my audience. Yeah, actually, no, that's very, very true, right? So that's why I'm not pitching here. If I wanted to pitch, this is not the place. For me, the ideal customer would be somebody who has, like, let's say, 10 CR of revenue recurring, right? Year on year. Somebody who has, let's say, about 100 people in his company. Somebody who hates his marketing team. Somebody whose growth is stagnant. Me here, I'm here because I want to sell you exactly one thing, the free course. Why? Okay, you might be laughing, but listen, I don't get anything out of this. But this is so important to me because most of the marketing stuff that you learn is, I'm looking for a polite way to say this, wrong, okay? They teach you, invest in the funnel, spend this much on marketing. Like he said, nobody cares. Because at the end of the day, you want to connect with somebody. You want to be, you're important to me. This is why I want to share what I'm saying. Nobody cares about the ad, man. Seriously. Because at the end of, like my emails in this, they're not even designed. It's just as if I'm writing to you. And that is literally what's happening. If you were sending an email to Praveen, are you going to add pictures? No. You might add a couple of GIFs, which my emails have. But then again, it's just going to be like typing and sending, right? That's how you need to communicate. Because the moment you become a faceless entity, the moment you become a company, the moment you become Kudos Now instead of, I'm sorry, I don't know your name, but that lady, right? It's Smitha. Instead of Smitha, if you're Kudos Now, nobody cares. But then suddenly if it's Smitha talking, yes, I'm talking to a person. I feel like I'm being heard to. I feel like people are listening. I feel like I matter. And that's the secret, man. Same thing in marketing. Anywhere you go, I don't want to talk to a machine. I want to talk to a human. That's what this is going to teach you. So I'm running out of energy, so I'm going to kind of wind down. So please do the free course and do give me feedback. Course is available here. dominationlabs.com/join. It's as simple as that.